Welcome to That Didn't Work.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, etc., whatever time zone you're in, and welcome back to Table Babble, our show about absolutely nothing, and yet everything all at once. My name's Percy, and I'm the conductor of this here poop train, and with me I've got...
Mike, and I am not an 18-year-old female.
And I'm Jason, and apparently that joke's still running.
Yeah, that was a solid,
second episode.
Yeah, episode 2 of Urban Star. So, welcome to Table Babble. We hope that you enjoy the next 30 to 40 minutes, depending on how long we feel like talking to you.
Or you feel like listening.
Or you feel like listening. Whatever comes first. All right.
Click the subscribe for more shenanigans now.
Yes. And also watch the previous... We've got 75, 80 hours of content that you can go check out. And that's not including things like the build your own DM screen and stuff, which was 2.5 hours?
That one's 2.5 hours, but I've learned my lesson since then.
Yeah, smash that like button, hit that subscribe button.
Yeah.
Subscribe, Patreon.
Hit this button up here.
Remember, only you can support us.
We're making a lot of YouTube jokes, but this is also a podcast. So let's go ahead and kick off. I think... Jason, let's start with your question. You were describing that to me earlier, and I thought it was just real. I think we're going to have a lot of fun with that one.
So, I'd been thinking, and we were kicking around in chat, just different things to talk about, and one of the things that I've always found interesting, because I tend to do it a lot, is if you were suddenly thrust into an alternate dimension that had stats and careers and, classes, or however you want to call it, where would you pick/see yourself? You get no real choice in it. So I immediately said, Percy, we know you're a bard. As soon as I said that.
You did. I'm going to flip it on you. I like the question. I think I want to kind of go around in a circle here, at least once for each of us. And I will make up a place. This is the alternate dimension you're being slapped into. And I want Mike to stat you.
He's an 18-year-old female.
So we're gonna
This isn't Star Wars. Shh.
We're gonna go with.
And I like the fact that we're getting slapped into this.
You are getting slapped in. This is not a willing venture. All right.
This is unplanned venture.
You are. It's like a Harry Potter. You get flushed down the toilet.
So there will be lots of edits.
Yeah. So Jason, I think the place that I think I would plop you down into would be Space Jam. Jason's in Space Jam universe. So now Mike, and we can all play in this space a little bit, but what do you think, at least the starting thing, is Jason coming in as Jason, or is he coming in as one of the Monstars?
No, I don't think he's even coming in as one of the Monstars.
Okay.
Knowing Jason, I'm going to have to put him... oh, goodness. I'm going to have to put him as, the little alien that runs around.
Marvin the Martian.
Marvin the Martian.
I was going to say that or Wile E. Coyote. That would just feel immediately like...
Marvin the Martian's weird librarian cousin.
No, I don't go with the librarian cousin. I'm kind of playing off that whole engineer vibe and the statistics and the creation of weird anomaly things like the Illudium P38 space modulator. That's Jason would explain that one great.
I think so. So you would be Marvin the Martian. What if we had to put him in a character class? And I guess let's stick as close to D&D as we can, because I think those are the most easily understood and explained and stuff. We don't have to go into too much detail.
Yeah. With that one, I'm still going to have to... you know what? As every character he wants to play is some kind of sneaky, I'm going to give him Rogue.
Marvin the Martian, the Rogue. I think Rogue and we'll cross it'd be the Rogue Arcane Trickster.
Yes.
Yeah, that'll work.
Rogue Arcane Trickster.
Definitely.
I think is the direction that would go, which is probably the worst of the rogues.
I
don't know. At me if you disagree.
It's yeah. it's got its drawbacks, but it does have some utility. But yeah.
Sure. Cool. So I think let's just go in the circle. So Mike, now you have to come up with a world for me.
World for Percy. John Carpenter's of Mars.
Nice. Now I'm concerned as to what Jason's gonna stat me as.
Oh, but see, you're a bard by nature, but I can't.
Sure.
I can't remember any hype guys from that. There weren't many because in the 30s they weren't really writing for hype guys. So it would be hard to put you as one of those. Although I guess a 30s jazz musician who gets caught up in it would be kind of cool. I think knowing you and your preacherisms but I could see you doing jazz musicians in the 30s.
A saxy bard.
A saxy bard, yeah. Hey, at least he's not flirting with Mike.
The night's young.
Yeah.
We do have Call of Cthulhu later. Percy G on the alto sax. But no, it would probably still be bard of some kind just for the D&D classing.
But what kind?
Lore bard.
Bard of lore. See, Jason's being nice to me. He's picking my favorite class and subclass.
Well,
Well-
you said stat the person.
Well, that's true.
That's why I said it.
I was hoping for a little bit more of a jab and goof.
not you're the GM
Because
and
Mike, you're not getting this ease of use from me.
well, you're the GM in 90% of all of our stuff.
Yeah, but I'm not vindictive.
No, but you do remember.
I do remember.
Anyway,
Hey, it is what it is, right?
so a world to put Mike in, huh?
A world to put Mike in. Where does Mike need to go?
No, I'm screwed.
Why do you think I'm the one who's going to cause all the problems? I mean,
Have you seen your 7-page backstory?
yes,
Okay.
I have. But honestly, I think Mike would have fun in I can't even think of the name now. I could just remember the tagline. The live, die, live again with
Die Hard.
no, not Die Hard.
Live
the
Free,
one
Die
with-
Hard?
The one with Tom Cruise.
Cruise.
Time Cruise.
That's pretty much what it was. It was Time Cruise, not Tom Cruise.
Oh, they missed the mark.
Oh, you're
It's,
Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah.
Time Cruise.
Okay, that's going into the Terry Crews, isn't it?
The accidental but best pun that's ever happened to that movie. Oh gosh, Time Cruise.
Cruise.
I love it.
All right, so
So Edge of Tomorrow world. The easy answer is that Mike would pilot some sort of robot.
Well, that's like half the cast.
I know.
but like D&D class style in that sort of
Yeah.
sci-fi alien attack sort of.
Yeah, I think Berserker Barbarian.
I could see it.
That seems like a good fit.
It does. So what would you be yelling? Callbacks, people. Callbacks.
not
I've
very
got a
long.
shiny meat bicycle.
As he rumbles over the mountainside and
I'm riding Time Cruise.
It's Game Tim.
Game Tim, Time Cruise. Also, never mind. I'm not gonna make that joke.
I mean, how many more of our shows can we throw in a little quirk on there?
I don't know.
Well, I mean, that's 3 weeks in a row of talking about Borderlands.
You show them the video once, and it just becomes a long-running joke.
Hey, it was a good long running joke.
Yeah.
It was a good, long.
It was a great
running
joke, actually.
So, how about another question?
All right, I'll take one. Let's see. I saw on the forums one today that said funny names for your epic weapon in D&D.
Oh gosh. So just a not foreshadow, not recap, because it didn't have an us. In the podcast, The Adventure Zone, they have one called the Flaming, Raging, Poisoning Sword of Doom, which is incredible. I don't know how we can beat that. But we'll try. So, epic names for your weapons. Is it weapons and magic items, or just weapons?
It doesn't matter. The post was funny names for your epic weapon, but
Funny names
I think we
for
can.
epic weapon.
I think we can project that out a little further if you want magic items as well.
Okay. Funny names for epic weapons.
I've got one.
Okay, go for it.
Ask me no questions, tell me no lies. Staff of infinite truths.
Okay. Why?
Because the minute you ask it a question,
Okay.
it tells you no lies. So it's the Staff of Infinite Truths, but all you can do is ask it yes or no questions.
Okay. That's
All
a
right.
long name.
Yeah, but that's the whole point of magical items, because you know that wizard probably was like, and I'm going to get a demon to be bound to this, but it's only going to be able to do these things, so it needs to have a name that represents its qualities. You get the whole point.
Yeah, sure.
Percy?
I don't usually have funny names for things. I've never named anything funny in my entire life.
All right. Really?
That's a giant load of BS.
Yeah,
Funny names on the spot, though, are tough.
funny names on the spot are very tough. If I had if you gave me like a weapon with a property, I could probably do it. But just like thinking nebulously of like, what's a funny name? Well, this is the Global Spork. It's a dagger that
There you go.
that targets eyes.
You now created the global spork.
Like I don't, but that's not even like that doesn't make sense. A
Did you
dagger
watch-
that targets eyes. I don't know.
Did you watch the Toy Story 4 thing
No,
today?
no, I have not.
Okay,
I'm
because
denying that it exists.
because you said spork, so everybody's losing their mind about sporks
Oh
today.
gosh,
I was gonna go with a scepter called the probe.
the probe. And
Just- Just the probe, huh?
Just the probe.
do you have an advantage when you hit him from behind?
There it is. Plus a d6. We'll just throw that in there.
Plus D6.
Plus d6. Advantage plus d6.
But is it a divine weapon or
No, I think it's a cursed weapon.
cursed? Okay.
Cursed. Well,
So
I was thinking if divine, then celestial.
How so?
Aliens, get it?
Yeah.
Probes.
yeah, exactly. That's where I was going with it. Like,
For shame. Tony, for shame. I'm gonna go hide in the corner now.
So, name this tool. Name that tool.
Percy.
No.
Oh,
I mean, I would be honored to be included in anybody's D&D game as this. It's a rope. It's a rope that never touches the ground.
I'm done. I'm out.
What
Are we
you gotta-
editing?
No, you got to name it. What is it? A rope that never touches. I don't know where your mind is right now, but
It's in a bad place.
yeah, yeah. We're just gonna shelve that one.
We're gonna back off of that question.
hey, listen, it was a good question.
Oh, it's a great question, but whew,
Uh,
How about this? How about this? Earmuffs that let you understand rodents. But everything else sounds like squeaks.
wow, I'm struggling. This is good. This is turning into a bad question.
It's not a bad question, but it's like it gets those like improv juices flowing, which I think is something that I would like to do, like with Table Babble a little bit. Is like, you can see like, hey, we're all three
It's-
GMs. We spend a lot of time thinking of this stuff, and still, like when put on the spot, it's not easy.
so they would be colored yellow. They would have holes in
Okay.
them, and it would
Okay.
be known as the squeaky cheese head muffs.
The squeaky cheese head muffs. Come on down to Squeaky Cheese's head muffs.
Because everything else is a squeak,
Okay, yeah.
and you can understand rodents with them.
Squeaky cheese head muffs. I like it. Do you guys
Yeah.
want to come up with any items?
Yeah, no.
No, you're done.
I'm done.
This one's over. All right, cool. Well, I have a pretty good question for you guys, and I think this one may take a little bit of time because it opens up the conversation of like creating something new in an existing game in general. So when the Ravnica book for Dungeons and Dragons 5th edition came out, it came with the Circle of Spores class for the Druid, which I really love. Like, I've got in my back pocket a Wood Elf Druid with Circle of Spores named Linus. Of course,
That answers some questions.
of course, exactly made after the like Peanuts character. Like, he carries around a blanket, is always dirty. Like, I'm very excited to one day put him on the table. But
I made a Myconid Circle of Spores
nice.
Druid.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun,
Yeah,
actually.
I bet. But
I've just been
the
busy
circle-
editing.
Yeah, I've just been editing video.
We don't let him out of his cage.
We don't. But the Circle of Spores Druid got me thinking, like, what else should druids be able to do? Like, what other circles? Because they've got Circle of the Moon, which is, like, turning into animals. And Circle of the Shepherd, which is, like, controlling animals. And Circle of Spores, which is controlling mushrooms and fungus.
Among Us.
Among Us. And then what else? The Circle of
Dreams,
Nature.
right?
Circle of Dreams, or... Yeah, it's something like that. Which is very cool. Very, very interesting. If you were playing an interplanar game, I would play Circle of Dreams all day.
Oh, yeah, no. Circle of Dreams in the right campaign is an amazing druid class.
Yeah, but it is such a niche druid class. So, like,
It's
what are some other things that what other druid circles? I think maybe like Circle of Time. So like let the druid manipulate time and seasons and things like that.
That's more of a chronomancy thing. I mean,
Okay.
that gets more into the wizard subclass, which chronomancy is a thing in 3.5.
Well, then druids are transfiguration. So, like, really, it's all magic.
Oh, it is all magic, but you get what I'm saying. Like, chronomancy is actually a built thing from 3.5.
Well, sure, but we're playing 5e.
Eh.
But that's what we're talking about is a 5e druid.
Oh, I get it, but again, to me, when I hear Circle of Time, I'm Wheel of Time, bad joke. Anyway, to me,
Sure, I get what you're saying, but that's like saying like druids shouldn't be able to change shape because wizards also have a spell called change shape. That doesn't make any sense because that's something a druid does, like wizards can do, but druids can do better because that's what they're niched towards. So
no,
I'm saying,
and that's what I'm saying. Like, sure,
okay,
but wizards already kind of sort of have time manipulation elements pre-built into them, if not sorcerers. One or the other. But the one that I would want to synergize more off of would be like celestial and abyssal warlocks.
yes, but we're talking about druids.
I know, but what I'm saying is for the druid.
Jason doesn't get the conversation.
No, I do. What I'm saying is I think I don't want to get bogged down with the time with the prophecy thing because the druids, I think, you just leave it up to nature's prophecy more or less.
Okay, so druids don't need a prophecy thing. All right, so Kevin has just popped in. I don't know if you saw that on YouTube there, that he just suddenly appeared in the frame of your view screen. But we are talking about druid subclasses, adding something new to the flavor of it. Just after the Circle of Spores, just kind of the inspiration that we might get to expand on druids a little bit more.
You're fired.
That's a drop, drop in the bucket. So we're just starting this conversation. You're not late to anything.
Okay. Well, I'm not the biggest fan of druids, so...
So what would it take to make you a fan of druids? Like, what
I don't
would,
know.
What would a circle that did druids better be?
Circle of the Jerk?
Oh, good gosh almighty.
I would like to see... I would have...
Just spells that make them big ol' assholes.
I would have liked to see... I actually... God.
They already have the spell growth. Let's just leave it alone.
That brings a whole new meaning to the word mage hand.
My good.
Percy, the dropper of incidental puns today.
The unseen servant.
I would actually like to see an expansion on what's the one? Circle of the Moon? That's the shape-shifting one?
Yeah.
you don't get like it feels like it's really subpar to doing anything. And I think the aspect of that is really interesting.
Yeah.
But you give up so much to become a CR1 spider. Oh boy, you're gonna die.
I get what you're saying. They're not DPS characters.
Well, not
like
even
Circle of the Moon Druids are not. They're intended to absorb a lot of damage.
Well, correct, but also at the same time, when you look at it, especially with how a lot of 5e is run, being Adventures League and through modules, the way those are run, you lose out because you can just... Why bring a Circle of the Moon Druid when you can just be something to blast something, and you just kick down the door, blast whatever on the other side. You don't have to really think about the answer.
Sure.
You can just stumble your way through it.
Sure.
And it's kind of like how I feel Rangers are.
Yeah.
You got a lot of tools, but not really a need to use them.
I feel that.
But that's my interest in it, is like it's a huge aspect of the class that is
Sure. So let's what I want to do with this is not necessarily talk so much about like what is failing for the druid, because I think we could all agree the druid is not what it should be,
or
it doesn't feel as powerful as it needs to be.
Well, I wasn't necessarily saying that. It's just that you asked what would bring me back, what would make me more interested.
What would make you more interested? Okay, and
then adding of a circle. I don't necessarily think that. I mean, that'd be cool, or elemental, like a different style, or like a different side of creatures you could become, like elemental style creatures, or
Circle of the Avatar.
But yeah, I guess I don't know.
Well, I was gonna say Circle of the Dark Pact.
Okay.
So I know we're not trying to go off into like warlocks and other things like that, but it does make sense to me that you can have a tainted druid.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's kind of sort of what Circle of Sports almost gets into a little.
Sort of.
When you read some of the stuff in it, but yeah.
Oh, I love Circle of Sports.
Like,
it's interesting.
We both agree.
Basically, necromancer druids.
Yeah,
is so cool.
Also, why do you think that is a fallen druid? You're bringing life to things.
That's
like
right.
not unnaturally. The spores aren't unnatural.
No, it's very much the cycle of rebirth side of everything.
He's just making a few friends.
Yeah.
I know you and I made the joke about it being the Circle of Life druid.
Yeah.
Which I think you need to explain.
Yeah, so Circle of Life, taking that necromantic side of druids and really, like, basically having powers where, like, when something drops to 0 HP, you can then, like, do a burst of magic out of that thing. Like, this thing dies, so I get to do something because of that. You know, that's kind of the direction I would take. And maybe Circle of Life, like in our chat earlier, you were talking about, like, oh yeah, Disney, whatever. Like, okay, that's fine. But the point of it is, like, being able to, like, Circle of Reincarnation. Yeah. That would be cool too. Like something like that. That, like, you take things that when things die, you're able to kind of surge magic outward in an abnormal way because of death happening.
Yeah. And
I think that would be really cool.
We were also talking about the prophecy side of things too, with the prophecy bard. I think the synchronicity that you could get there could be really cool, and I think bards / druids get a lot of synchronicity together in their subclasses. Yeah, and I think that would be really cool to have a druid who is like a druid of prophecy. I don't know how you would get there. I mean, your bards of prophecy.
The bard of prophecy was very cool, very fun to make. Druid of prophecy, though, I don't know. I don't think prophecy is the way that I would take a druid. It makes sense for them to know, but it may be like Circle of the Stars, something like that.
Like more astrological based stuff?
And it's more like based around finding things that are hidden.
So like in Harry Potter, the Centaur.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Exactly like that. Almost like kind of playing off some of what I wish the divination wizards could do beyond their initial, like, divination power. Kind of playing off of some of those things, I think would be really cool with a druid.
What would you think of more of a shamanistic thing, so dealing more with spirits.
Yeah, that would be cool too. Druid Circle of the Ancients or something like that would be very cool.
Yeah. What about you, Mike? Any thoughts or circle suggestions?
No,
He gave his circle.
I've already given my circle suggestion.
Yeah, we know. We were hoping for a more legitimate answer.
Well, no, that was the whole reason why I was behind the Dark Pact side of it.
Yeah.
Is it's not just the spore, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it is more of like the druid has a pact with a tainted nature element or nature deity.
With the Fae.
Yeah.
And it's completely corrupted their natural life.
Yeah, almost like the Oathbreaker Paladin.
Similar. Yeah.
Something like that. Like, it takes the idea of what a druid is and flips it. And, like, you're a failed version of this. Very interesting. So I think, like, just to think through, because we're not parsing out how to make a new character class, just kind of some steps that I know I would think of would be, like, first thing you got to do is you got to go into what classes there are, like what the subclasses are, and find, like, at what levels do they get boosts? Like, when do they get benefits? Because every subclass, for whatever reason, is different on what levels they get certain modifiers and new abilities and things in. So you got to figure out when that is. I think for druids, it's like level 3, 4, 7, 11, 14, and 21.
2, 3, 4. It's 2, 3, 4, 7, 9, 14, and 17.
Way beyond my D&D knowledge.
Yeah, it's something bonkers like that. But yeah, they're all different. So like you've got to look at what they get and like kind of incrementally how much power they get, because I think the temptation when you're going in to create something new like that is to make it bigger, better, badder than the things that are already there, which I think kind of manipulates the D&D more than it should be a little bit. But I think for the sake of balance, they've done things the way that they have, even though they might feel weak. I don't know. What do you guys think? So let's go ahead and cut off the druid conversation here. But let's put out for people who are listening or people on Facebook, and even for you guys to be thinking about. I think this is a good exercise to do of like what would we add to something. So I don't think we'll do it every week, but I think once a month we should at least have this conversation of like, okay, monks suck. How do we make them better?
Except they really don't.
No, they really do.
You are about to get some hate mail.
They're about low to mid tier. Like once you hit that mid tier
Yes.
level, that's when they just like
I guess
fall
it also
off.
Well, it depends on
Monks
true.
are good levels 1 through 5. Beyond level 5, though, they seriously lack.
A
Well,
lot
that's
of it has to do with I think feats more or less.
Yeah, feats and monoclassing.
Oh, where was I? Yes, they fall off. They need more like feats and class features.
Yeah.
A couple different ones.
Yeah.
Like
I don't want to talk about the monk too much right now because we will talk about it later.
You have been overruled.
Give us your thoughts. If you want to tweet at us, if you want to comment on Facebook or Instagram or Podbean or whatever. If you want to email us, it's notworkingcast@gmail.com. You can comment on YouTube, whatever. Let us know what you think, what you'd like to hear more about. If there's a class you think could use a little bump and some ideas on how to get you there. And if you want more detailed conversation on how to make some of these abilities and stuff like that.
And it doesn't have to be exclusively to D&D either.
Yeah, absolutely. That's just kind of where we start because 90% of people who play role-playing games are familiar with that.
Agreed, but there's people out there who want to explore and try different things, and one of our biggest things right now is L5R, so if you have a question about L5R, by all means.
Yeah, and we've got a questionnaire out there. It's on our Facebook page and everywhere else that you can ask questions about any game that we play. So if you're interested in doing that. Do we have any more questions before we cut off?
Sure.
Cool.
I got
Mike's
one
got us
that
one
I'd
more.
like to do. All right. So, going with the D&D theme, it could be any game here, but ingenious hacks that fit within the rules.
Ooh.
So, if you don't mind, I'll give it some context by starting off with one. So, one that I read, why I was looking at different things here, is a party wizard reveals to his group that he can't cast while wearing armor. So the group decides to have the rogue always carry some chainmail with him, so that any caster that they ever come across, the barbarian with the grappler feat tackles him, and the rogue puts armor on him. So
Interesting.
you've nullified any level of wizard or caster. Am I wrong?
I mean, I feel that's only refers to player characters. I haven't really looked a lot of the profiles in the monster manual, so they may not actually have that restriction. I mean, it's ingenious, don't get me wrong. It's just like I don't know if they actually fall into that trap hole of, oh no, I'm wearing armor. Because a lot of them have higher AC than they should then, seeing that.
Well, I
Dex
guess
plus.
that's a function of the challenge rating, but you know,
Yeah.
I mean,
it is pretty ingenious. It's like if your grappler is able to pin them to the ground, you can just bind them in basically put binders on them, and then they're useless too, because they have to do somatic and verbal components too.
Yeah.
Or you break their jaw.
Yeah. No, I mean, there was one that back in 3.5, one of the good exploits was if you had someone who knew the spell Goodberries, it used to not be a touch spell. You could cast it at range. So a horde of goblins came. Well, Goodberry is a cantrip, so the wizard just cast Goodberries in all of the goblins' brains. They all fell down dead.
Well, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that.
I don't-
As a DM, I don't think I'd let that fly.
I think you might if it's entertaining enough, and the goblins aren't really that weren't
I
meant
don't
to
know,
be a
because
challenge.
then why would you ever have another adult red dragon? Good berry, good. Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Magic resistance? You can come up with so many other reasons of, well, I let that fly once.
Let me say this. In a Fate game, or even Dungeon World, that would pass. In Dungeons and Dragons, I don't think I'd let it through.
Here's why it ended up working.
And I'll say this. I DM'd 3.5 for a good 7 years.
Here's why the DM let it go.
Okay.
Was because he had...
Because he was tired of all the crap.
He was, but it was at the end of the day, everybody had spent all their spell slots, and they were just trying to get to this town to rest, and he threw a goblin horde at him, and he was just, no, I've had enough of this, and was just like, fine, y'all win, I'm done. End of campaign, but also, like, ingenious player break, because it was...
Yeah, that's how you want all your campaigns to end, the DM getting fed up with all your crap.
oh, I did have. Yeah,
We all have that face. We've all done
Yeah.
that.
Oops. I love Dungeon World. Ha 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 ha.
You should tell that story because, yeah, that actually is a game-breaking mechanic.
I told Percy that story.
It's a good
Yeah.
hack. but you haven't told all of our valuable
So
listeners.
you have a defend others action you can do in Dungeon World, which, since there's no initiative, every time you run out of hold, you just go, shut up party, I'm defending others. It allows you to defend an area or just defend one person. I chose to defend an area and a reasonable area around me, and obviously, depending on positioning and how things happen, you can be put out of area, but as long as you're relatively intelligent, you can prevent all damage that happens to the party. Because you have 4 actions with hold, have damage, intercepted attack. The have damage also has effects, so if you use your golden opportunity to say, well, I don't know, there's a tar pit there. Well, somehow, some way, I can defend and drop a shield there and now have the tar pit. However, it's thematically appropriate. Then you're also able to do damage back equal to your level. What's the 4th one? So have damage. I really only use 2. Having damage and defend and just...
You're saying half? Like
half. Yeah,
like
so you
half?
take half the damage. And your armor as a paladin is base 3. If you take a shield, you can increase that if you're on a quest to +1, and then in the second half +2. And since most big bads do about a D10 worth of damage plus something when you have it, and you go, I got 5 armor. I take 0 damage.
It's a good hack.
There's also another thing in which you can take no damage from an attack by taking the -1 the debilitations
-1 ongoing.
So you could do it about 6 times before then you start taking damage. So when my DM goes, I do 13, 14, and 15 to you, and I go, no. Then he looked at me and was like, well, I'm glad this was the last session.
All right. So I got one more that's in there. And since I have played clerics quite a bit, especially lately, one of my favorite spells is Command. It's a single word spell, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's supposed to give just a basic command to a enemy who fails their save, right? So the party hack is one of your players gives detailed instructions, and your one-word command is obey.
Yeah, I could see that working.
So again, it's within the rules, and it's just like it's a hack that just doesn't get exploited very often.
Yeah,
I think my favorite hack that Rick won't let me do for D&D coming up after Call of Cthulhu is the Inquisitive Rogue human variant with the Observant talent.
Oh, go on.
Well, if you're an inquisitive rogue,
I can't blame him.
You get these. So of course, expertise. Toss your expertise into perception and
insight.
Insight, yeah, perception and insight, for sure. Then you have the ability to like read lips. Like if you can see someone talking, you could roll an insight check.
All right.
To be able to understand everything that they said, like as long as you can see their mouth. And you also have a keen hearing ability that lets you do the same thing if you can, like if you're within earshot of something. And then if you have the observant talent, your passive insight and perception gain a +5.
That's also only if you know that language, right?
Well, yeah. But baby, when you get to level 4, take the linguist talent. Then what are they going? Like, what are they going to do?
And now you know why Rick has looked at him and said no.
And I really, really want it.
Well, what was just tell Kevin what your base passive perception was going to be.
Oh my goodness, it was so it's 10 plus your skill, and I put all of my highest abilities into. Well, so observant also gives you either a +1 in wisdom or intelligence.
Yeah.
So both my wisdom and intelligence were at a +3.
Oh, okay.
So 13 plus expertise, 16 plus the 5. I was at a 21 passive insight and perception. Ain't nothing getting by me.
I walk through the dungeon and you have to tell me everything.
I walk through the dungeon and I know all the traps, all the secret doors, and also where he hides his snacks.
Yeah.
I want it so bad. Because then also he fights like Sherlock Holmes in the Robert Downey Jr. version, where like you get to make I think it's like a perception check versus their deception to like pinpoint weak points, and then you have advantage for your sneak attack until they die.
As a GM, I just walk out with power word kill and then have the wizard just fly off somewhere and be done with it.
Can't you
Dead.
you get that pretty much that passive perception for most rogues?
Well, so the way that the sneak attack works in 5e is you either have to have advantage or there has to be an ally within 5 feet of the target. So if you're fighting something that's near an ally, yes. You don't get advantage, you just get to be able to use sneak attack.
Well, no, I was talking about the passive perception.
Oh, passive perception? You can get it up to like 16 pretty easily, yeah, with expertise.
You can get it up to 17 or 18
Yeah,
with some
sure.
min-maxing, yeah.
But getting it up to 21 at level 3 is hard to do.
All right.
And don't forget, if you're actually playing a variant human, you already get your talent. Or you already get your...
yeah, that's why I get the observant feat
Yep.
at level 1. And then we're starting the game at level 3, so the next level, I would just take linguist. and it would be done. Like I would know, because at that point I would also know all the like common languages that are being spoken in the game.
Or he would have to start throwing some of the uncommon super rare languages
Which is fine,
super early.
but most people I would encounter would be speaking the languages I would pick.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Yeah, so cool. I think that's going to do it for us at Table Babble today, unless you guys have anything else to toss in there. It's been a great time so far. Thanks so much for listening in with us, and man, we'll see you guys next week. Make sure that you respond to us with any questions you have. If you want us to like email you that form because you can't find it on our social media for some reason, shoot us that email, notworkingcast@gmail.com, and we will make sure to get that to you. We like answering the questions that we come up with, but we would really like to answer your questions. So get those to us, and we really can. Like, we play regularly D&D, Star Wars, Legend of the Five Rings, but we also have played things like Paranoia and Cats and Seventh Sea and Fate and Dungeon World and Monster of the Week, and the list really does go on and on.
You're forgetting the one that you're playing tonight. You haven't
Yeah,
even
Call of Cthulhu.
with that. Time Cruise is signing off, right?
Yeah.
Look, I know I had to railroad you guys last week or the last time we played, but you know, that was because we had to get the investigation started.
That's true. Yeah.
Railroad, I don't know.
I
don't know
rushed
about
you guys through the first part of that.
Yeah.
Anyway, on that note,
It's right. It was fun. With that being said, I've been Time Cruise.
I'm still not an 18-year-old female.
apparently I still am.
That's right. That's Kevin. A.K.A. Marcus, if that is your real name. We'll see you guys later.
Not according to your overlay.
Y'all have a good week. Keep on adventuring. Bye.